Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 20 of the F1 24 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Mexico City Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live a couple of days ago from COTA, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. We had quite a decent race at the Circuit of the Americas. You know, we struggled against the AI in terms of raw pace, but using strategic excellence, we were able to make it work in the end and walk away with a good result. Of course, we announced in that weekend as well that this powertrain energy recovery system rotor speed upgrade would be the last we do for this season because rule changes are rumoured to be occurring, and obviously we just kind of need to plan ahead as to where we're going to be ready for next season as well. There, take a look at the Drivers' Championship, 5 points in it still between us and Oscar Piastri, 1 point in it between us and Alpine in the Constructors' Championship, so there is still a lot to fight for late on in the season. Mercedes and Ferrari still taking points out of Red Bull though in the Constructors' Championship, but yeah, the drivers' table, it looks like it's going to be Verstappen's world title yet again. Well, there we go then. As we head into the Mexican Grand Prix, we have confirmed that we have got some rule changes ready for next season. They are going to affect the aerodynamics of the car then, so we've got plenty that we need to try and get fixed up. We've actually got a lot of upgrades that we need to get sorted out between now and the end of the year. If you're new to the F1 game, always, when these things happen, do the most expensive upgrades first and then go down to the cheapest ones. But yeah, at least now obviously we've got a bit more purpose as we head towards the end of the year to try and get ourselves ready for Season 2. So let's head out into practice and try and earn some of those R&D.
It may only be Friday, but the carnival atmosphere has begun. We're here in Mexico, ready for free practice.
Well, I don't believe we're going to get any of kind of like the randomization options you can do in driver career mode come the end of the season in this series. My team is pretty much just a copy and paste from last year inside F1 24. So yeah, those new aerodynamic changes will hopefully allow us to kind of springboard back towards, you know, kind of potentially towards some of the top runners in this series. Yeah, obviously the first couple of years are a little bit of a grind, but hopefully we're going to make it worth it.
For the activation point.
Like we said as well, obviously we want to try and make sure that we get the better of Alpine as well this season. They're the team that we're in quite a big battle with later on in the campaign, but yeah, obviously using their power units, so hopefully we can try and get the better of them. I think we're probably going to stick with Renault power ready for next season as well. Like I said, I like to keep it quite realistic. You know, Renault is sensibly going to be the only company that would kind of give us a power unit right now in Formula 1. Red Bull obviously like to keep theirs in-house. Ferrari and Mercedes have enough customer teams as it is already. So, yeah, as we make our way through free practice, this looks like it's shaping up to be a purple score. Because of how much front-end grip there is inside F1 24, I don't actually mind driving Mexico as much as I have done in previous games. Purple score to kick things off. That is fantastic. Qualifying sim run up next then. Of course, if you've been missing out on some of the driver career mode videos, we've had a little bit of confusion trying to work out whether the AI use hot lap mode in qualifying. Doesn't appear that they do still inside this game, so we are going to do the same. So yeah, obviously as we head into qualifying in just a moment, it can be quite a mixed bag actually, I find, here in Mexico. Sometimes we do really well, other times we really struggle. That first sector though, 3/4 of a second up, I'm not going to complain about. I genuinely don't believe, unless we go to like Belgium, I've ever seen a qualifying sim run this OP inside this game. Up towards the final corner, we are going to be 1.4 seconds up. That gives me some confidence as we head into qualifying.
This is a special place to go motor racing. We have the Fora Sol. The track is warming up nicely, and it is nearly time to set the grid for tomorrow's Grand Prix. What an atmosphere we have in Mexico City.
Really happy then with the balance of the car after free practice. Honestly, I don't think I've really ever felt that confident around Mexico in previous F1 games, and obviously last game, F1 23, I think we won 3 Mexican Grand Prix in a row. All 3 of them through quite a lot of luck, it must be said, but maybe, just maybe, we can return to that form in the My Team career mode. Of course, we have taken our first win on this game back at Albert Park, Australia. That does admittedly now feel like a long old time ago, but Yeah, Wassa up in P18 as well, so he's clearly got some pace in the car. It is really nice to see him slowly getting more and more confident towards the end of the year. Come on, what's going to be the gap to Wassa at the end of Sector 2? 3.5 tenths up. So we're doing pretty well so far then on this lap. Like I said, I'd love to be kind of, you know, fighting in and around the top 10 if possible here. This track should hopefully suit our car as well. Just a little bit more as we make our way out of the final corner. Are we going to dip into the 114s? No, we're not. It's a 15-1. We go P15. Well, it might be one of Owassa's most competitive qualifying sessions of the year. George Russell, though, the same cannot be said for him. Clearly made a mistake on his first run. There's still a couple of drivers that I would expect to go quicker than me by the end of the session that we are still ahead of. Let's try to give ourselves the widest possible run to carry the most speed out of the final corner here to start our last lap in anger. I mean, we're a tenth and a half out. Surely we can try and get a 114 as we make our way back down towards that first corner. 210 miles an hour, just over as you brake at the 100 meter. We'll tip the car in, get it as close to that apex curb as you can, kind of bobble out over the next couple of corners. They're slightly wide on the exit of turn 3, but we've done all right there. Another 2 tenths up early on in this lap time. Brake at the 100 meter board again. Don't really use all of the track width up there because, of course, the circuit arcs round to the left and then the right. Oh, a little bit too much curb. Be careful. Easy on the throttle. We're still finding time. So I think Charles Leclerc might just have snookered away pole position here. Maybe hasn't give up on his championship hopes just yet as we try and navigate our way through the final couple of corners. Still 2 tenths up at the moment. So we pretty much found that time at the start of the lap. We're just going to snag a little bit of a way at the end of it. P17 in the end, but we did do a 114. Well, it is fine margins up and down the running order here. Charles Leclerc pole position by just a tenth of a second over Max Verstappen. I mean, yeah, Russell half a second away. Only good enough for P10 there at the end of qualifying. Owassa does out-qualify Daniel Ricciardo. Only 1.1 seconds off pole there for Iyumu. So I genuinely, we haven't quite fully confirmed whether he's re-signing with the team for next season. But I genuinely think he's made a lot of good progress this year. And you guys seem to really like having him in the number 2 role as well. But it's time, though, ready for the Mexican Grand Prix.
In the 60s, Mexico City would be the season-ending race. That's no longer the case, but it is always a party in these parts. Welcome to the Mexico City Grand Prix. We're 2,285 metres above sea level. That is one of the key details of this circuit. It tests the driver's fitness and their engine's efficiency. The other one is the atmosphere. An incredible crowd, a raucous crowd, and there's 30,000 of them waiting for the drivers at the end of this 2.6 mile lap in the Foro Sol. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And Max Verstappen lines up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Perez, Oscar Piastri, Sainz, Gasly, Fernando Alonso, Norris, Hamilton, Russell, Ocon, Albon, Stroll, Bottas, Magnussen, Hulkenberg, Mr. Monaco, Joe, Sargent, Tsunoda, Owassa, and Daniel Ricciardo fills the last spot on the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
This is not going to be an easy race from this position, but just give it your best shot.
Well, we know we've got that long run down towards turn 1, so we're hopefully going to be able to capitalise today. Mexico, the 2-stop is viable here. I always say it. It's been viable in the last couple of games, so even more so inside F1 24, and that might be what we employ depending on whether we're struggling to get through traffic. Sometimes you've just got to take the risk, especially when the car hasn't got the out-and-out pace. Sometimes you can spring a surprise, or you don't really feel like you've lost out too much. As we wait, though, on the 5 red lights here in Mexico City, it is going to be lights out, and away we go. They're trying to put the power down on the long run towards turn 1. We haven't done too well. Zhou Guanyu certainly has, though, as he's going to get a little bit caught out behind some traffic as everybody fans out in towards that first corner. There goes Yuki Tsunoda as well, down around my outside. Can we have a look down the inside of Sargent? No. Apparently, according to the Williams driver there, as through turn 2 and turn 3, we will send it back round him. Oh no, I've been turned slightly. Oh, that was so close. We were so close then, genuinely, to getting turned around. The car just for a brief second started moving to the left, but we managed to flick it back round to the right-hand side there. It is a vicious start to Mexico here on this game. It always seems to be the case, though. So just a little bit sceptical of when Bottas and Hulkenberg are going to try and brake.
Stay alert for threats around you.
In the end, we have gained exactly nothing off the start of this one as Hulkenberg, bit of a desperate lunge to keep the place ahead of Valtteri Bottas. I think, though, Ferrari, yeah, Charles Leclerc has got to the lead of the Grand Prix, and Carlos Sainz has followed him through and up into P2 then. Mexico, obviously, the home of Sergio Perez, so he'll be longing for a really good race today. And Red Bull can really do with it as well, as they're still under pressure in the Constructors' Championship. Round the outside of Bottas will go. Give him a little bit of a pinch. You know you can do it, because Bottas can't tend to race wheel to wheel, as Sainz is actually the one to the lead of the GP by the end of lap 1. He's done a magnificent effort. Well, riding on board then with Carlos Sainz for the start of this Grand Prix. I want to see how he went from 5th to the lead here. And it's going to be 5 red lights, and lights out and away we go. And immediately we'll get the jump on the McLaren car. Tucks up into the slipstream of his teammate Charles Leclerc as they make their way down towards someone. Gets a little bit pinched for just a second, and they are going to be almost 4 wide in towards that first corner. Carlos Sainz, though, down the middle. He's going to be able to navigate the Red Bull that was on the inside there at turn 1. Max Verstappen just gets a little bit pinched out, and down the middle, Sainz, you don't see many starts like that by the AI. 4 places gained from 5th to 1st, but he is out in front there, leading a Ferrari 1-2. Resume on board then with the action. Try and have a look down the inside of Nico Hulkenberg there, obviously my Haas teammate. Say, there's certainly no love like that between us in this series. Not that there's much love between us in that series either. Around the outside of the German will go, and up into P15 then. So, yeah, the car, though, like I said, actually feels really good around this track early on. I feel like I've got the confidence to push with it, which obviously we certainly didn't have last time out at Kota. But again, this is Mexico. There's a couple of big DRS zones early on in the lap, so DRS is essential. Well, despite quite a frenzied start then here in Mexico, things have calmed down rather quickly in this Grand Prix. Looks like Stroll in P12 is just struggling to keep sight of the Mercedes and the Alpine in front of him. George Russell, I believe that is really struggling so far this weekend with pace and confidence in that Mercedes. But yeah, as always, points remain the goal, no matter how many or how few. Problem is Alpine here. The Renault power unit works really well around Mexico. Obviously, we saw Gasly in the driver career mode get a podium here as well last season. Don't think he's quite going to do that well today, but you never know what might happen. So yeah, we seem to get a lot of decent power out of the engine right the way through the race. But the problem is, so do Alpine, and they're our big title rival. Well, I think Magnussen just starting to get a little bit bored of watching Lance Stroll slowly drift back from those cars in front. You can see the Canadian's going to try and go defensive. Oh, Magnussen there just moving around a little bit in the braking zone. He's always a bit of a difficult one to try and predict what his next move's going to be. So we could have been close enough there to have a look up the inside of Albon. Oh, we are going to be able to go around the outside, though. The Thai driver perhaps being just...
That brings you up a place.
Yeah, maybe a little bit too generous with giving me space there around the outside. I'm not going to complain, though. We're up into P14. So you just got to try and hug the car through that chicane. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Mexico absolutely should be the top of EA's list of tracks to remodel now. It is so inaccurate. Well, I think we need to start giving Magnussen the hurry up here, because he's just not really making an impact against Lance Stroll at the moment. The Haas car, yeah, it's not that quick in a straight line for some reason around this circuit. He gains a little bit more top end. But again, he just is happy to, well, sit behind Stroll down at turn 1. Little snag of the rears, though, is not going to help my case. Oh, come on, Magnussen again. He just gets right under the gearbox of Lance down at turn 1, but he just doesn't seem to be willing to actually make the move happen. And the problem is, of course, he's basically using Lance and the slipstream to keep me at bay. I'd happily go for a move past Lance Stroll. Done it so many times on this game already. But Magnussen, for some reason, wants to stare at Valvoline logos all afternoon. Again, it can't quite roll on the power up here. We'll try and do what we did to Albon, though. Yeah, Magnussen, I don't think if there's a driver you would guess won't give you space, it's probably Kevin. This time around, we're really trying to use a lot of a lot of ERS here as we make our way back down towards turn 1. Come on, come on. I think we're just going to have to completely drain it next time round. Unless we can try and get a run up here. Just doesn't seem to be working for us. I think, you know, I've wanted to try and make sure that if we did use the DRS, we keep some in reserve for the rest of the lap to defend ourselves. But, yeah, we've just got to go all out. Back down towards that first corner. Oh, here we go. Finally, Magnussen trying to make a move on Stroll. Unfortunately, Albon has tried to do the same to me at the same time. We'll power back down the inside of the Williams in towards the first corner, but Magnussen's finally made the move. We've just been waiting to try and recharge our energy pack, basically until it was fully charged so we can go again. But yeah, Stroll now, is he going to be able to try and get back past the day next time round? Don't really know why these two have insisted on having a tea party so much early on, but it has meant we've all dropped away from those runners in front. Come on then, are we going to see Lance get a run on Kevin back down towards someone? Why? These two are genuinely colluding and working together here. I refuse to believe otherwise. They will just sit in behind each other down at the end of the straight and really just, I think they're both genuinely trying to keep me at bay at this stage of the afternoon, and I'm not happy about that. Down the inside, no. I might not be happy about it, but I certainly couldn't do anything about it just yet, as Albon will sense an opportunity. And luckily, well, again, Albon, I was hoping he might be a bit kind, but not twice. He'll defend the position. But yeah, now we've kind of let Lance and Kevin get away, so maybe their plan has worked. What is this? I've never had this before on F1 24.
We're approaching the pit window now, and you're going to be on hards next time. And gap to the car in front, 1.7 seconds.
Yeah, unfortunately, we might have really tripped ourselves over here. Maybe let my temper get the better of me for a brief moment, as Alex Albon flying past me back down towards turn 1 now. We've got no DRS to defend ourselves. Is it worth just trying to dive into the pit lane a couple of laps early and then maybe trying to get the undercut on the pair of them? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, Awasa as well. He's still battling it out. It is admittedly at the back of the field. But it is so nice to see him now, not just the back marker, but kind of competing with other drivers. He's definitely built up confidence this year. Right, come on then, Alex Albon. Are we going to be able to get a run on him? I think we might have problems with the battery here. It is definitely not charging up as quickly as it once was. As here we go. To the outside of the Williams. Not quite there. Thought for a split second he might lock up. You can often tell by the body language of the other car what they're going to do. But as we try and get the power down again out of turn 3. How is that Williams pulling away from me? We've got the DRS. We're on the battery as well. Down the inside for the second time. In about 4 laps, we're going to go for a little bit of a rear locking. And again, I think we've got a box now, I'll be honest. It's not that we're lacking pace or tyre life against the others. I'm just getting really frustrated. Like I said, we're going to try and go for a couple of laps undercut here. We've certainly let emotions get the better of us, though, so far this afternoon. And that's really, really compromised us towards the end of this first stint. Tyre wear's absolutely fine. We could have easily taken these tyres probably for another 4 or 5 laps. But yeah, just want to get some clear air. Hopefully clear our head. Maybe, if we're lucky, get the undercut on Stroll and Magnussen as well. I think the problem is, because I'm so confident in the car's ability here, I want to believe.
Left rear wheel, I know it's not ideal, but let's try and put that behind us now and get back into this race.
I was going to say, I want to believe that we can fight for points. That's going to make things even more difficult.
Pit stops, let's go.
So, oh, we got yellows, I think that's one of the V-carbs maybe out of it. No, might be a different one. I don't know. Someone has brought a yellow flag, so it would be just my luck now if we saw a safety car or a red flag in this Grand Prix. It's the Haas, it's Hulkenberg who's out of it, but nothing of the like. We're starting to see some of the other AI then into the pit lanes. So yeah, that tyre pit stop mishap might really have cost us here, because now we're not going to be able to utilise the undercut. Actually, it looks like we're going to lose out to other drivers, as Kevin Magnussen already making his way out of the pit lane. I mean, look at that. We're out alongside Tsunoda here. So we really have lost out in all of this. Whatever I do in this Grand Prix, it just does not seem to want to go our way. There we go. Ayumu in the pits. Come on, Mark, say it. There you go. Yeah, we've got a few more drivers into the pit lane then, so
5.3 seconds.
Don't really think we've lost out much in all of this going on, but we certainly haven't gained anything either. As to the outside of Alex Albon once more, we should be right there with Lance Stroll, and now him and Magnussen aren't together. Maybe he's going to be a bit more of a sitting duck Come on, I'm not going to give up. But yeah, this race certainly, up to this point, the first half has been frustrating, but we can absolutely still capitalise. Come on then, this time round, Stroll and Magnussen. Now they're not under pressure from me, they're happy to fight each other. Or not, Magnussen is just going to let the Aston Martin by down at turn 1. I'm looking at that front-running group as well. One of the Alpines, I believe that's Esteban Ocon, has just dropped off the back of that train and is really starting to lose out. Verstappen is on a fight back against, I believe that's still Carlos Sainz leading this. But Charles Leclerc, he needs a win today. He needs a big result. But our Ferrari and Mercedes just focus now on the Constructors' Championship. Oh, come on. We've got nothing. Nothing at all there as Tsunoda flies back past me in towards turn 1. For some reason, yeah, battery management here seems all over the show. Sometimes we get a good run, other times we don't. I do not want to be stuck behind the V-carb car through the middle sector. That's where we're really strong around this venue. But unfortunately, that's exactly what's going to happen. It honestly feels like the AI get more battery quota than me around this circuit at the moment. As you can see, we're closing on Yuki. This time around, he's actually going to start charging up the battery. Oh, he tries to move, despite the fact I committed to the inside there. So we will send it down the inside of the V-carb. Mark happy with that one. And again, we should be able to defend ourselves off of the corner. Stroll and Magnussen, they just seem to be start fighting again. But so far, yeah, this race, I've never had anything like it. Well, I'm guessing Ayumu as well, looking at the minimap, also had pit stop problems because he's dropped away behind that little group of cars he was fighting with. I also feel sorry, I believe it's for Bottas, because he's basically got no one to fight with between now and the end of the day. Although Albon and Tsunoda seem to want to dispute P15 again. I'm gonna let them deal with that. I'm focused on the two in front. Oh, here we go. Magnussen again to the outside of Stroll at 2/3 distance. Clean around him. How can he go clean around the Aston Martin there, but I watch him every single time not get a run in towards turn 1? I was also thinking about it. Only a Matt212 series could in COTA we score points despite not having pace all weekend. The very next race, we feel like we've got the pace all weekend, and well, unless we get a miracle, we're not going to score. Well, I've been too busy trying to ask Mark who the race leader is going to be. I've just noticed we might really struggle for fuel towards the end of the afternoon, so it's going to be in our best interest to get inside the range of either Magnussen or Stroll, and then really fuel save towards the end of the afternoon. We had issues with this early on in the campaign, where this car had a bit of a drinking problem. They seem to be rearing their ugly head once again. I think, yeah, Magnussen's got real problems here. He's lost over a second.
Ready to use DRS for the overtake.
Matt Stroll and these two have basically been fighting all afternoon, so definitely something up with that Haas car. Maybe he picked up a little bit of front wing damage. Certainly can't see any on that side of the car, but we'll go clean around the outside through turn 1. And nice to know now, finally, when these two aren't working together, we can absolutely get the better of at least one of them.
So easy.
I want to get inside Stroll's range. I'm happy then to sit behind him and save fuel. Ocon is too far up the road. Oh, we've got yellows. We've got yellows out. I think that's Stroll breaking down. Lance Stroll. A huge mechanical issue towards the end of the Grand Prix. And hopefully the Aston Martin driver's kind of going to stay out the way. Ish. But, I mean, a safety car now will be perfect. Absolutely perfect for us. I don't think it's going to happen, though. As our second mechanical failure of the day. That is karma, though. Admittedly only against Stroll and myself. But, yeah, I'm happy to see that, I'll be honest, with the way him and Magnussen have driven today. I need to let K-Mag by, though. And we need to try and save some fuel behind him. Once I get that fuel saving back up to about 0.2 extra, then I'm not going to worry about it too much anymore. And we're going to see ourselves through to the checkered flag. Oh, that was not ideal. Immediately just run a little bit deep. It's quite off-putting when you're trying to fuel save on F1, because of course, yeah, your braking zones change and everything like that, but making sure Magnussen doesn't get the 1 second margin either, a real shame, kind of the way this race has fallen today. It really does feel like what could have been, especially with how bunched up the top runners have stayed for the most part. We could have really sprung a surprise. The go fuel number is back about where I want it, so we are going to try and drop the hammer and go for it out of the final corner here up against Kevin Magnussen. We've got to try and get the speed back down towards turn 1. Like I said, I really don't want to sit behind him for any longer than we have to. You can see to the outside we go. We haven't got that impressive top-end speed. Like I said, we've definitely had to manage the battery a bit more than I was expecting to today. I don't know whether it's more worn than I was anticipating here. I mean, it's not... the energy store, 50%. It's not bad, but it's not perfect. But immediately trying to get out of that range of Magnussen as well. We're kind of hoping we can just drop him in an instant. And there we go, immediately then. 3 laps to go. We've dropped Magnussen. Hopefully we're going to be able to keep him at bay.
Really good stuff.
It's quite annoying, to be honest. Looking at the gaps to walk on, we probably could have got the jump on him had we not had to fuel save later on. But, I mean, even then, obviously, it would have been P11. And that's the most painful position you can finish in a Formula 1 Grand Prix in my mind. But it took Magnussen about a lap to work out what we were doing here, and immediately he has decided he's going to come back on a tear right towards the end. Round the outside, we'll have to go down at turn 1, but surely the Dane is going to be able to get some decent straight line speed up in towards turn 4 here. We're going to sit defensive, but there's nothing we can do. Magnussen storms back around our outside. The question is, will we be able to save up enough battery to go for it into the final lap of the Grand Prix? If this race has had anything, it has been a lot of slipstreaming and good battles. As we ran through the Florida Sol then for the penultimate time this afternoon, we are still practically pushing Kevin Magnussen along. Verstappen, he has been in hot pursuit of that Ferrari right towards the end. But it doesn't look like he's going to have enough here. Max Verstappen, desperate to try and get another win on the board, just extend that lead. But if it's Carlos Sainz winning this thing, then it doesn't really matter. It will pretty much be the Dutchman's world title for the taking now. With just 4 rounds to go after today. We could not get the run on Magnussen back down towards turn 1, but we've saved a little bit more in the tank to hopefully get a run up the hill there. You can see he's trying to go a bit defensive. He's going to force us out over the curbs at the top of the hill. Finds the grip. Yeah, I think we were optimistic there, trying to keep it up the inside. And yeah, Magnussen, I think rather annoyingly, is just about going to hang on to that towards the end. Which Ferrari is it, though, that takes victory here today? It is Charles Leclerc, keeping his championship hopes alive for at least one more weekend. Max Verstappen is going to come through for P2 when the dust has settled here, with Alonso walking away with another podium late on in the campaign. Through the final couple of corners, though, Oscar Piastri again is going to outscore me, rather annoyingly. So is Kevin Magnussen. And Kota, we struggled and scored. Today, I felt like we had the pace. Nothing, though, could go right this afternoon. It is P13.
What a performance! He's left the field behind. Charles Leclerc wins it.
I mean, it looked like they were in a different category at points during the race, led every lap. I mean, what more can we say?
Here come our winners now. A thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
Well, there we go then. Charles Leclerc once more will keep his championship hopes alive. If anything, it just delays Max Verstappen taking it easy to the end of the year there, and it's fantastic to see for the Ferrari man. P1 here in Mexico. After he got 2 wins in a row, Max bounced back, 2 wins in a row of his own. Charles Leclerc had a terrible time out at Cota, but he is back on top here in Mexico City. Fernando Alonso comes through for P3 ahead of Hamilton and Sergio Perez there, with Oscar Piastri picking up more decent points. Beats out Sainz, Gasly, Norris and George Russell come the end of the afternoon there. P13 for us. Like I said, nothing seemingly was able to go right today, but at least we finished, unlike Lance Stroll and Nico Hülkenberg. That means if we take a look at the Drivers' Championship, 103 now the gap at the top of the table with 5 rounds to go of the season. I believe that leaves us with 143 available there. So Max Verstappen, yeah, still has a bit of work to do before the end of the year. George Russell's bad weekend. He's still ahead of Lewis Hamilton in the Drivers' Championship there, as Perez and Carlos Sainz still duking it out for P5 overall. I mean, yeah, Norris and Alonso, though, aren't too far away. That could be a four-way scrap before the end of the season as well. Alpine, big points for them. That certainly gives us a bit of a headache in the Constructors' Championship. 3 points now ahead for the kind of the main team there over the team they provide engines to. 7 points between Ferrari and Mercedes, as they are both still, trying to keep Red Bull honest towards the end of the year. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready in Sao Paulo for yet another sprint weekend.